That's right, folks. When you hear the sound of thunderous applause from the studio audience, you know that Drew Manchu is live with Comic Core Daily. I am so happy to be here today, guys. We're going to check in the chat. I had a couple of people tailgating. We're going to get to you guys real quick, and then we're going to get to the lineup today. Comic Man Andy was first in the chat. He popped his popcorn quite early this morning, saying 10:50 Eastern. Man, he was ready. We got Scott Evans in the chat, as well as my friend John's Comics with Kids. He's excited about our topic today. Gomer says, Boom has a Netflix first look deal. That's our top story today, and we're going to talk about it. We got Magoo Fitzfarter in the chat, shouting out his love of The Flash. We got all kinds of lightning bolts and shit, too. Rob Boswell, my head scares him. Oh, man. Well, I'll do my best to keep my head under control. I don't know. Comics Misexplained wants to see an Abbott show. We'll be talking about all kinds of stuff like that. Rod, just a Rican, and his comics showing up in the chat. Good to see you, Rod. Gomez, comic collectors in the house. Comics for All People, CFAP, good to see you. Captain Comics in here, as well as Backseat Driver, good friend of the show, always in the chat, always hitting up those comments. You guys hit up the comments below. Don't let Backseat Driver take all of the chances to win these free books. Phil Ailing in the chat, as well as Perry's Comics. Good afternoon, Perry. Perry is blowing up with him reacting to the Marvel movies, something we all did in the theater over the course of the last decade and didn't think to film it. Boy, were we wrong. All right, gang, we're going to go ahead and get into the segments, get into the topics for today. We're going to start off with a little nerd news. Guess you guys saw it in the chat. Gomer was talking about it. Boom Studios, they've got a first look deal with Netflix. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's kind of the same deal that Mark Millar has got going on with Netflix right now, where they have the right of first refusal on all IP for development in television and movies, which is fantastic because Boom is absolutely loaded with content that is ripe for the picking when it comes to television series and movies. And that's what we're going to get into in our top 5 today. We're going to look at top 5 series from Boom that we think could be great television series. But Boom has done a great job incorporating television writers already into their staff of writers over there. I know Kurt Sutter, who's the creator of the Sons of Anarchy, has a couple books at Boom Studios, and Boom also does a great job adapting properties that are already on television for comics. They run the Adventure Time comics. They do the what is the other one? The other big one, the Power Rangers. They do Power Rangers. Boom is a fantastic studio who puts out great content on a regular basis, and them teaming up with Netflix is nothing but a win, in my opinion. I can't wait to see some of these titles come to the screen. Now, there are a lot of Boom properties right now that are in development hell, which has happened to just about every comic book that's been optioned over the last 15 years or so. A good 99% of them never get out of the development stage. And it's sad to see that some of these better stories that were the first ones to get picked up are not getting the legs to move forward. I'm hoping that this direct deal with Netflix gives them a leg up in getting these stories actually produced for the television format, whether it be for animation, which has been great for Netflix. They've done a lot of great things with animation, or through live action. Like we've just recently seen Lock and Key really blow up for Netflix. They did a great job with Umbrella Academy, and I can't wait to see what they do with some of these other titles. Gang, let me know, what do you guys think about Boom Studios? What would you like to see adapted from Boom Studios? And maybe just let me know if you want to see Perry cooking nachos. That sounds like a good idea. Boom had RoboCop. Misexplained is right there. They do have RoboCop. Once in Future would be awesome, says Casey Parks. I think that's a great idea. Nobody's behind that. Nobody is against that idea. Adrian the Panda Nace said Faceless would be too erotic for Netflix. Maybe. but I like it. I like it. Give me animated naked ladies. I'm down for that. Scott! Shouting out Scott Evans. But I just want to go ahead and bring that up. Bone Parish as well. I think those are all really, really great ideas. Chaos and Comics is back, says he's too erotic for Comic Core. But we'll let you in the chat, and eventually we'll let you on screen whenever your schedule clears up. We'll get you on here. I want to have you discuss these things with us in person and tell us how terrible all of our decisions are. Once the Future's getting a second vote from Downright Nerdy Podcast. And spoiler alert, it makes my list later as well. Moving on to our next topic, we're going to go ahead and shout out the community a little bit. I know the Comics Misexplained is going to be excited for this one. We're going to go to find some cool stuff on Instagram. Just this morning, this picture of this lovely lady was posted by Comic Cast Pod. That is the account on Instagram for the Comic Cast podcast over on the SMB network. And if you're not familiar with who this lady is, it's Kelly Thompson. And this Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they will be joined by Kelly Thompson to talk about her work on Jessica Jones, Captain Marvel, Deadpool, and more. I really hope that they get some time to talk about Mr. and Mrs. X, really great Gambit and Rogue comic where they were jumping through the stars, going on adventures in space as newlyweds. It was pretty great. I enjoyed it. I love Kelly Thompson's work on Captain Marvel, and I'm definitely going to be in the chat for this one. I'll also be giving away a few autographed copies of Kelly's work, so I'm going to show up for that as well. If you guys go ahead and follow Comic Cast Pod on Instagram, the link to their channel is in the bio. I'm also, it's not there now, but I'll be putting the link to their channel in the description of this video as well. Guys, be sure to check out Comic Cast Pod on Instagram and the S&B network, and check out Comic Cast every Sunday. They're one of the best new book review shows that is out there as far as a podcast. Boogie Bentley keeps those guys in line over there. Great cast of characters. You got Adam chugging root beer. You got Jason with his AirPods and his Dick Wolf hat, and Gomer with all that hair and all that neck, just giving you the best of news as far as comic books are concerned, as far as reviews are concerned. They don't cut any corners. And since we're not getting new books at the moment at a large enough clip to run an entire show, they've been doing a book club show. Last week they did Saga. So they're always doing something different over there. Check out the whole SMB network for the Wrestling Council and all kinds of other shows that Boogie and his crew are putting together over there. And you got Yul Carter in the middle there with his Dodgers hat. That's the Yul Carter emoji. If you guys become a member for just 99 cents, the Comic Cast, they got cool emojis you can use in their chat. So shout out to Boogie and the crew over there. Thank you so much, guys, for bearing with us through those two long, arduous segments. It's only been 8.5 minutes of show, but we've got to take a quick commercial break and make sure that we're honoring the people who help us keep the lights on. Hey, Comic Core viewers. Do you want a free mystery box of comics? Well, that's good because we're having a giveaway. It's super easy to enter. Just leave a comment on any Comic Core Daily video answering the question of the day. Want extra entries? Well, you can vote in the Modern Men poll each week and leave a comment explaining your choice. This giveaway is open only to U.S. residents 18 and up, and you must be subscribed to the Comic Core. We'll compile all the entries and spin the wheel on the Friday, April 24th episode of Comic Core Roundtable, and you must be in the chat to win. Printed rules and instructions will be found in the description of this video. Good luck and happy commenting. MainFrameComicCon, April 25th and 26th, an absolutely free 2-day online interactive con experience that you can enjoy right from the comfort and safety of your own home. Celebrity guest interviews, comic industry professionals, cosplay contests, and so much more. Check out the website at MainFrameComicCon.com. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at MainFrameComicCon for our ever-growing list of guests and emerging schedule of events. That's April 25th and 26th, Saturday and Sunday, 2 days, absolutely free. MainFrameComicCon. We're bringing the convention to you. This is Andy.
Excitement's building.
This is Thursday.
I'm nervous. Breathe with me, guys.
And this is Andy on Thursday. That's right, we gave Andy his own show.
No way. No way.
Yes way, Andy.
Holy sheet.
Holy sheet indeed. Andy Given Thursday. Live every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on the Comic Core. You've been waiting for it. We promised it. And now it's here! Modern Men presents The Dark Knight Returns. Only on the Comic Core. That's right, folks. Modern Men is going to be doing The Dark Knight Returns. It's going to be this coming Monday, which just so happens to be the 20th of April, also known as 420, also known as Blaze It Up, also known as Puff Puff, Don't Pass, Just Keep Puffing kind of day. If you guys get blazed up, I guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee you it's going to be a good show, but I guarantee you that if you're high, it will be better. That's right. Dark Knight Returns on Modern Men. Now, you guys might want to say, I was sitting right on that commercial there. Right in that commercial, they were doing a giveaway, and you answered the Modern Men poll, right? You answer the Modern Men poll, and then you get the opportunity. You get the opportunity at that point to get an extra 5 entries into the giveaway for free comics. But how? How, if we're doing a curated episode without a poll, how will you get the opportunity to get at these comics? Well, I tell you what, gang, we're still doing a poll. That's right. We're doing a poll. I'm going to pull it up for you right now. And if you answer this poll and then comment in the poll below, you got to comment in the poll below. And then, now this thing's asking for my password again. I'm going to put my password in. Let's read it out loud for you guys. Big O Titties 69. Well, that's not working either. So I'm not going to show you this poll, guys. Well, I'll tell you what, you can go to the Comic Core community tab, check for the poll, vote in the poll, and it's for our topic that will follow our discussion on the Dark Knight. We just want you to vote on what we're going to talk about. So all you got to do is vote on what we're going to talk about. Give us a comment as to why you did that. 5 entries right there. That's all we need from you, gang. Just to keep the contest alive and keep giving you guys as many opportunities to answer in this poll as possible and make it mean something to you. That is not my password. It's big old titty 69. Wade Adams says more than a handful is a wrong password. Well, that's not a bad password, though. Adam, you're late. You're late, bro. You weren't here. We're trying to see the sausage get made, but it's a messy process, and it's screwing up all of my beautifully produced segments, gang. So we're going to go ahead and move on to another beautifully produced segment. The countdown today is the top 5 books that I want Netflix to make into a TV show now that Boom Studios has their first look deal. They have right of first refusal on all of this IP, and I think that one of the best series they could put together would be Kurt Sutter's Sisters of Sorrow. This is about a group of ladies who work at a battered women's shelter. They're trying to help the community. They're trying to help the women. And they go out as vengeful vigilantes dressed as nuns at night and kill people who've been doing ladies wrong. The local government's not a fan of this vigilante justice. So there's a lot of drama going on here. Kurt Sutter, best known for Mayans MC and the Sons of Anarchy. Boom actually put together a great Sons of Anarchy book. They did 2 different series on Sons of Anarchy. They're really well produced and really fun reads if you're fans of the show. Sutter has a great way of handling characters and real life scenarios and turning them on their head ever so slightly to make it an extreme situation. And it's just really fun to see the way that he works with these characters and these situations. Great writer. And I think that you can attach him to make this a television show as well. When I read the first volume, it read like a TV show pilot to me. I think that Sisters of Sorrow is definitely a book that we could see turned into a TV show. But number 4 is just a little bit different. And it's Black Badge, Matt Kint's Black Badge. If you guys haven't read Black Badge before, this is a series about some Boy Scout type troops. And they go on covert missions to destabilize foreign governments and all kinds of black ops. This is the last merit badge that these kids will ever get. This is a really cool series and a really strange take on international affairs through the eyes of children in the Boy Scouts almost. The art is hit or miss from time to time, as Kint's artwork seems to be. But I think the story is ripe for retelling on the small screen. I think that a Black Badge television show would be fantastic. You get the right young actors, a la Stranger Things, and anything is possible. I think the Black Badge has the wheels on it to go the distance as a television show. It's a really cool concept. Think of it as 24 meets Stranger Things. That's the way I would play it. But number 3, I think, has a life all into its own, and we've gotten some love for it already in the chat. Bone Parish, Cullen Bunn, tells a story here about a new street drug made from the ground up bones of dead people that starts driving people insane and leads to somewhat like a perceived zombie apocalypse type deal. Bone Parish has all of the angles covered. You get supernatural, you get science, you get medical and police procedurals. You can do all that via Bone Parish. I think that it's ripe for a television show. There's talks of a Bone Parish movie out there. I think that if you tell it in a limited series or television show format, you're going to get a whole lot more out of it. This is a concept that will affect an entire city, an entire society, from the criminal organizations, through the local government, through the medical professionals, through the guy who just happens to be driving an ambulance, or the guy walking down the street who decides that he wants to get high and snort some bones. This is a cool story. I think that it can be developed into so much more than just this comic book. I think Bone Parish make the perfect television show, but not the most perfect, because there's 2 more that I'd rather see. And number 2 is Irredeemable. Irredeemable is the story of a superhero who breaks bad and all of his superhero friends who then try to take him down. Irredeemable is awesome. Think of it like The Boys, but a little bit more serious and a little bit more sinister. Irredeemable has some of the greatest moments in superhero comics that I've read over the past couple of years. I thought it was really, really well done. And I think that the juxtaposition of a hero who breaks bad could be a fun thing for Netflix. Give them their own chance to run at what The Boys is grabbing as far as an audience is right now. And I think you get more of a mature opportunity to examine superheroes. It's really cool. I definitely suggest you guys, if you haven't read Irredeemable yet, go out and check it out. But I think it's ripe for a television production. All you got to do is, balance the effects. And I think that The Boys on Amazon Prime has shown that you can do that quite easily within a reasonable production. And Irredeemable would be really, really freaking cool. But not as cool as my favorite Boom Studios book at the moment, Once And Once and Future has the opportunity to be a fantastic television show. You don't have to do the big arc that they did in the first arc with, King Arthur. But what you could do is you could have Gran and her grandson roaming around the countryside fighting these monsters of the lore of yore. And you could do it in a procedural kind of way, like the X-Files meets Supernatural, set in England where you're, fighting story creatures. This is totally possible and could be stretched to numerous seasons with them just slowly peeling back the onions of a mystery each season and having kind of a procedural monster of the week style storytelling going on throughout. And of course, you can do bigger arcs. You can do 2 or 3 episode arcs where they, focus on one monster for a couple episodes, and things can kind of get out of hand as that goes. But I think that you're looking at right here 8 seasons of a television show without even having to break a sweat trying to make stories work. This Kieran Gillen's characters are perfect for television. They're all clearly defined with a signature look and a signature voice in mind. And I think that you get Betty White to show up, and maybe she won't last all 8 seasons, but you get Betty White to show up as Gran, and I think that would work just fine. You can also get a younger actress and put old lady makeup on her. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work either. Once and Future, I don't see any reason why this doesn't work at all. Gang, in the chat, let me know, what do you think that they should be grabbing from Boom Studios and using for Netflix? Drew isn't even including Something's Killing the Children or Strange Skies Over East Berlin. They are really, really good, and they were on my list. I just whittled them down. Gone Tank, thanks to Once and Future Rules. That's a Fyra opinion if I ever heard one. Red Mother is great. I think it would make a good TV show. That's not a bad idea. Bun needs his own universe. Let's get him one show first. Let's just get him one show first. Faithless, I think we've discussed why Faithless maybe couldn't work, but I'd still like to see it. Mark Spector says, let's go the Empty Man. Empty Man's a good choice. They're apparently working on making that a movie right now, so we'll see if that goes anywhere. Killer Be Killed. Isn't that an Image title? I thought that was an Image title. Either way, that's a good sound. That would be a good series to base a television show on. I think that would be great. GoBots. No GoBots. It's like poor man's Transformers, man. We ain't going that route. I got a lot of really, really great things in here. Chaos says Strange Skies is great, but better as a comic. And Empty Man is coming. Gomer says they do a book called Firefly that would make for a great TV show. I think we're going to get into this topic a little bit more deeply in the question of the day panel. Seawood's got the same case scenario here. He says Buffy. I think you guys are on the same page there. Faithless is like a really slutty Buffy. Yeah, I think we're all on Faithless. I think that's a good one. Shout out to Bob World. I showed his name during the commercial, but Bob World is in the chat. Shout out to Bob World. Does all those great Comic Core intro and outro videos that we do. I make some of my own bumpers here. I'm the only one in the core who does. Everybody else relies on Bob. I'm just here to give Bob a break every once in a while. But shout out to Bob World. Definitely did that bumper at the beginning of the show. Great guy. We all miss Firefly. That's true. Guys, I think that's enough for this list. We're going to go ahead and examine it from another angle in our question of the day, gang. That's right. We've got a question of the day. We're going to look at this from the opposite angle. Boom Studios not only has now a bunch of comics that are going to be TV shows eventually. They have a lot of comics that were TV shows first. And I want to know, what TV shows would you like to see become a comic? Which TV shows do you love that you'd like to see on a regular basis examined through episodic television? And I'm going to go ahead and give you mine first before we jump into the chat. And that is Lost. Lost is ripe for a comic book. There's underlying lore. There's endless questions. There's character-based storytelling. Every single episode kind of as a flashback works as a anthology type series where everything kind of is just loosely tied together. And then you got everything on the island tying everybody together again. You can examine Lost from so many different angles, from the future, in the past, in the far-flung past. You can do the island in the time of dinosaurs. Yeah, anything is really possible with this story. And I think that's why it was so hard for them to wrap it up and give people a satisfying ending on a large scale, is because there were so many different threads in this show. And every one of those threads can be a 4-issue miniseries, could be a one-shot anniversary issue. You can look at this from just about any angle. All you have to do is say, well, this month we're doing what? Okay, well, we'll just examine what happened to Jack when he was in middle school. Okay, well, let's talk about Sawyer when he was in his 30s on the run from the law. Or like, let's talk about the first week that John Locke was in the wheelchair and how it broke him emotionally. There are endless stories you can tell in this medium, and you kind of just snapshot throughout the entire thing. I just gave you a couple of quick examples that take place during the show, but you get introduced so many different characters in so many different ways that I think it's an endless treasure trove of IP for people to mine via comic books. And I'm not sure why it hasn't happened yet. I'm going to jump in the chat and see what you guys are talking about here. Seinfeld. I would read a Seinfeld book, just get Chip Zdarsky to write it, and I would definitely be down for that one there. John says Lost obviously would be epic. I agree. Community. I think the Community would work as well. We can tell what Gomer is watching right now at home. GoBots. Fuck GoBots. I'm going to say it again. Just to troll Adam. Frasier. Chris Barrett loves him some Frasier. Wonder Chosen. That's not a bad idea either. Twin Peaks. See, Woodard's got a good look there. I think Twin Peaks would be fantastic. Frasier's Cheers crossover. Chris Barrett is building his universe. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Honestly, I'd read a Frasier's Cheers crossover book. Bob World thinks Lost is a good idea. Chaos says that's exactly what we need. Another comic that makes no sense, but it could make sense. It could make sense and explain things in like very small details. I mean, and you put it in the frame of an anthology comic with just loose ties. It doesn't have to make sense. Like Ice Cream Man is great, but like the ties that together, they don't really make any damn sense. Taxi Cab Confessions, that could be a pretty cool comic, to be honest. Just like write the stories based off of the confessions and then draw them out. That would be cool. There are Game of Thrones comics that adapt the novels, but they're not the same though. I agree. I like those. I don't love them. I think if they were featured more about what happening in the show, I would probably dig it. American Horror Story adapted to comics. That's a good idea. I think that Mark Spector's got a point here. We've got a lot of horror anthology style comics out there. There are a lot of horror lines. I think that if Hill House comics can exist at DC, maybe Marvel could, since they now own FX, take the American Horror Story license and turn it into an anthology style comic. We would tell different stories and then switch it up every other volume or so. I think that's actually a really good idea. Here's my $1 million idea. Groundhog Day comics, same day, every comic, but different things happen to the protagonist. You just described comics. I think My Little Pony and Transformers should do a crossover. Yeah, I just want to see one of those ponies like start to transform and have their bones all pop out of their skin and they turn into like some sort of Pegasus afterwards. That could work. All right, gang, we're at a half hour and I'm starting to ramble about My Little Pony ideas. That means that it's time to go. But before I go, just a couple of shout outs for everybody to let you know what is going on. Okay. Tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, I will be appearing with John and Alec for book club. And we're going to be reading this little gem here, Descender. I'm going to take some time over lunch and flip through it again, make sure I'm fresh on Descender. This is Jeff Lemire, Dustin Nguyen. Fabulous art in this book. If you're not a fan, obviously you're not a fan, but if you are a fan, this is something that you probably love. I really dig Descender. I think it's fantastic, and I can't wait to flip through it again. On Sunday of this week, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my boys over on the S&B Network, the Comic Cast podcast, will be interviewing Marvel creator Kelly Thompson. That is a big get. Go over and check out their interview with Kelly Thompson. She is doing fantastic things right now on the Captain Marvel story. I loved her work in Mr. and Mrs. X. Kelly Thompson does a great job on Deadpool as well. I'd like to see them ask some questions. I'm going to go over probably and drop a super chat, talk about Jeff the Shark. I think that it's going to be a good time. So if you are not doing anything Sunday night, mark off some time. Boogie's got a placeholder already up on the YouTube. So go over to snbnetwork.com or SNB Network on YouTube.com. Check out outrightgeekery.com. You'll find the list of all their podcasts over there, including the Comic Cast podcast. And go over Sunday and watch the Kelly Thompson interview. I think it's going to be great, great content. Also, Modern Men on Monday. Vote in that poll to see what we're going to be talking about after we talk about Dark Knight Returns. And we're going to be talking about Dark Knight Returns. And it's going to be rather smoky up in here. So tune in and see if I can remember what the hell I'm supposed to be talking about. Because it's a holiday, people. It's going to be a holiday. It's a holiday all month, which is why I'm in such great spirits when this show comes around. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to everybody who showed up in the chat today. I like seeing the same faces in that chat on a daily basis. And I also love seeing new faces as well. Conquistadors just popped in. What's up? What's up as we're ending the show, man? You're about a half hour late. It's okay, though. We're happy to go up. And special shout out to Bob World. Go give him a sub. He's one of the best. Great to see everybody in there. Anybody I didn't get to shout out, I apologize. Chat moves a little bit faster than I'm used to, and I'm not JB from Discovery Bay Comics. I can't pay attention to everything, man. This is a solo operation, bro. You guys can check the credits for confirmation on that one. Peace out, and I'll see y'all later. Hey gang, make sure you hit that subscription button there. Give this video a thumbs up. And make sure you hit that notification bell. Always going live. And check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching.